Hey, this is Andy from Saor, and you're listening to What's Metal.
So we are at Baden and Blut Open Air tonight in the very, very south of Germany, even though we are from the very, very north of Germany. And finally, we managed to see Saor live. So yeah, what was it like today?
It was really good. I've had a really good day. The gig itself was amazing. The crowd was amazing. They were really into the show. The festival itself has been very professional and very well run. And I've had a really great time being here, and it's been awesome. Yeah.
So to be very honest to you, my expectation was that you being the sole composer of all the songs and like a multi-instrumentalist, I thought this would be like you and a guy of like a couple of hired hands. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I mentioned this to you earlier. I had to kind of like rewrite my my entire interview, because when you went on stage, it was like I don't know. You were so tight, and it didn't feel like you just got a couple of guys or like a girl to do the show today. It seems to be like a full band. So I don't know how to interpret this. Maybe you can clear it up.
Yeah. So basically, we kind of have a pool of musicians from like all over Europe. Our kind of base is Geneva, so we sometimes like we changed things up this year. It worked out cheaper to have a band here in Europe, and just for me to fly out and work with the band here. We work with the guys from a band from Switzerland called Canbard, and the drummer Dylan, he's in that band. There's a guitarist, Nico, who couldn't make it tonight. He's usually the guitarist who plays tonight. But the band that were on stage tonight have never rehearsed, ever. That was all just, it all just happened. Basically, we have a pool of musicians. We have the songs, click tracks, and we practice along online. But we don't have to go to a studio because all these guys are really professional musicians, so I trust them. And as you've seen tonight, we're really tight, even though we hadn't been in a room together playing. The two guitarists had never played together, but these guys play regularly with us. But it's usually another guitarist who plays. So it's very hard to explain. So we had a guitarist from Scotland who can make this show. So one of the guitarists here had to learn all his stuff within a month. But he plays the other parts of the guitars. So there's rhythm and lead. The guy that plays lead had to learn all the rhythm stuff. So it's very confusing. Yeah. But so basically, we have a pool of musicians. We have really professional musicians. We don't need to rehearse because they're all amazing. And it was very stressful, but we got there in the end. And
but I mean, you're playing the bass guitar, right?
Yeah.
So is it not somehow like a little bit odd, or?
I play the least important instrument, the bass guitar. No, not at all. I mean, when I say we've not rehearsed, I have rehearsed with the drummer, me. But I mean, this group of people have never rehearsed together because it always changes. And this was very last minute because we had some issues with another guitarist, couldn't make it. So these guys have just been amazing, very professional. And I mean, yeah, it's not really weird to me at all.
So for you, I mean, you keep saying we, as a band, but where do you draw the line? Because I mean, you're writing all the songs, and also on the records, you're recording everything pretty much. So where do you draw the line between I do this and we are the band?
Well, Saor essentially as me, but I have these guys that come in to make it a live thing because I do everything in the studio apart from drums. Like I do guitars, bass, vocals, all the backing tracks, whatever. Like I do all that. So I have these guys that do this live, and I can't do it myself, obviously. So it's cool to do that. So when I say we're all friends. Some guys play 2 gigs a year. Some guys play 20 gigs a year, but we're all friends. And I say we as in it's a unit of people that are working together to make what I do like become a thing on stage. So that's when I say we. If I was talking about an album, I would say me, like because I write the album and that's my responsibility to do interviews and speak about the themes and the music and whatever, because it's me. That Saor is me, but these guys bring it to life on stage.
For the music that you're playing, well, I mean, for others to play this kind of music, not being from Scotland, let's say, how difficult is it to instruct those people to play those songs? Because, you know, in terms of the tuning or the sound, and the soundscapes maybe as a whole, in a way, you know, I would call it very Celtic in a way, right? Like, you know, like how much do you have to influence this for these guys to tune into that kind of like sound or soundscape? I
mean, for example, we have Ella on stage who's doing bagpipes and tin whistles, and she was a fan of the band before she played live. So, and also like the guys that are playing, they've all fans of the band before I met them. So it's not really hard because they like the music, they know the songs. So it's nothing like kind of weird about it. Like they know the songs, they're very passionate about playing the music. They understand my mentality as a musician. It might seem strange to someone that doesn't really understand or get how bands work, you know, and obviously you have bands that have 4 guys that have played together since 1990 whatever, and they're all good friends, but as I said, we're a unit, we're all friends, and we're all professionals, and it's trying to bring my thing, my project, like live on stage. As I said, I couldn't do it myself, and these guys, there's nothing weird about it. It's just, you know.
I mean, if I think this through, if I can still do this, I don't know. But I mean, does this mean that locally in Scotland there are only crappy musicians that you can't work with? Do you need this kind of like international community to kind of like bring Saor alive? Or
well, it used to be all Scottish guys in the band, but basically I just kind of came to a realization. Why am I paying, like, we used to pay a lot for flights to go out to Europe, and some of these guys, like, I mean, our guitarist tonight is Scottish, and he's one of my best friends, but most of the band's all European. It's kind of easier for me to go to Europe, and we all, as I said, our base is in Geneva, and we all just, like, meet there, and it's easier for me to have these guys living here, and I don't know, it's just easier to have European musicians. Like, it makes no sense for all these like UK guys to fly out, and it's the flight costs are really high, and these guys can just drive here. you understand? Like, it's like just easier to have European musicians for European gigs, and when I play the UK, I have UK musicians, so it just kind of works out that way. And
let's forget about the rest of the band. So let's talk about you. I mean, do you think that this is kind of like a burden on you sometimes? Because having to compose everything, every instrument, including the lyrics, and obviously that's quite a lot, you know. Like normally this is spread across a couple of people. Maybe you can tell our listeners how this is usually happening, like in terms of song composing and finding a way how to express your thoughts or your feelings, even if you don't have all those musicians at hand?
Well, I used to play in like local bands, whatever, with friends, and I just never ever liked playing in bands because there's too many opinions and too many egos, and you know, for example, played in a band, you have a riff, the other guitarist says, I don't like that riff, and then you're in this just vicious cycle of, well, and it takes ages to write a song because you have to adapt for other people's opinions and other people's ideas, and I just thought, fuck this, I don't like that. I can do this myself. Like, I know what I want to do, so I know what riffs I want to write, I know what bass I want to write, I know what drums I want, and it just was easier doing it myself. And as I said, I've had experiences being in bands. I know there are successful bands out there that songwrite, but it's a lot easier just doing it as one person. And I only have myself to argue with, so it's a lot easier. That's basically it. There's no other big answer to that. It's just doing it myself's easier. I'm very confident in what I do. I have a vision, and when I was in bands, I would have a vision, but other members would have another vision, and it would clash, and it'd be arguments, and it'd be debate over what sounds good, and blah 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 blah. And I just thought, no, I'll just do my own thing, and it's been successful so far. So, yeah.
So when you say vision, does it differ from, the creative process of having an idea for a song, or what do you mean with vision?
My favourite part of being a musician is writing music. Like, playing live is fun, but it's not anywhere near as satisfying to me as creating something and then releasing it and people can hear it, and that's like my passion. Funnily enough, I used to hate playing live because we started playing live in 2015, and we played a few gigs, and I thought, I hate gigs, it's so stressful, and but yeah, my vision always was for me just to do my own thing and follow my own path and write my own songs, and I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's just me, it's my passion, I suppose, and it's just natural. I've always liked music. I grew up listening to metal when I was a teenager. Then I found black metal like my late teens. And then I discovered, how to work recording equipment, etc., and recorded my own stuff. But I was still in bands with other people, and I thought, I'm going to go my own path. And and I've always been inspired by Scottish history and landscapes and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of like a niche band because people are like, it's not black metal, but it's about folk metal, it's about pagan metal, it's a bit of whatever, it's Scottish metal, so yeah, it's kind of a niche kind of thing, but yeah.
I mean, we'll get to the visual aspects in a second, but how do you separate crap from what is good? Because you don't have any outside feedback as such, right? What's your filter? For what you keep and what you throw away.
I mean, I have about 200 demos just lying there that I've never used. I'll write music constantly, and I listen back and I go, I hate that. It's gone in the bin. But I have so much music that is unreleased. For a filter, I mean, I send ideas to some of these guys that play in the band, the live band, just for feedback and just for an outsider's opinion. And sometimes they say, oh, that's really good. Sometimes they say, oh yeah, I would change that, I would change this. So, I do listen to other people's opinions when it comes to my music. I don't just go, oh, I'm great, this is great. You know, as a musician, I'm always, as a songwriter and a musician, I'm always critical of everything I do. Even songs that were played today, I'm still critical of them and go, oh, I wish I changed that bit, and I wish I did something different there. It's a struggle as a one-man band as well, you know. But these guys give me good feedback, and they're very honest, which I like. So yeah.
So you as a person, were you kind of like sucked into this kind of like music or style, or were your parents maybe influential, or some friends or relatives, or you know, what's your background story there?
My dad has always been a big music fan, and he was into classic stuff, Zeppelin, Sabbath, and all that kind of stuff. And he was a big record collector and a CD collector. So I think from there, and then he took me to some gigs when I was younger, like kind of like bands he liked. And then when I went to high school, me and my friend used to trade CDs, and I was into kind of mainstream stuff. So, you know, well, I was a teenager when like Slipknot came out, and like there was also Metallica albums and Iron Maiden, and that was my first kind of introduction to metal. And then my friend in high school said, hey, I have this album you really need to listen to, Dark Throne Transylvanian Hunger. And I listened to it and I went, whoa, what the fuck is this? Or it was some black metal band, and I was like, this is crazy. And I just fell in love with the really dark, harsh, extreme sound. And he was also into kind of like death metal kind of stuff, so we traded CDs, and that's kind of how I got into extreme metal. But the gateway bands were the typical bands, Iron Maiden, and obviously Slipknot came out when I was younger, and all the kind of mainstream big bands. But yeah, it was mainly just due to being in high school and being around a couple of guys who were really into metal music. And they really like power metal as well, believe it or not. And I know there's not any power metal in my music, but we traded CDs and they give me like Rhapsody and all that kind of cheesy shit, and it opened my mind to all these different things. But black metal was I was like, you know, I like this, I like the Dark Throne, I like Mayhem, I like that kind of stuff. And I went down that path of liking black metal for a few years, and I kind of, and then in my mid-20s I expanded into like other genres that are related to black metal, like pagan metal, folk metal, neo-folk, like just kind of branched out. And yeah, so that's how I got into that kind of music.
Yeah, let's touch on the visual aspect. When one looks for your band on YouTube, let's say, and checks out the video clips, it's mostly, you know, landscapes, nature, and so on. I suppose this is done on purpose, right? Maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about this.
Well, where I live, I mean, I'm only 1 hour away from stunning landscapes, you know, and I'm about 2 hour drive from the middle of nowhere. No place, it's just mountains and forests. So growing up in Scotland, it's just been part of my life and very inspired by that. And I feel that I like hill walking, I like camping and stuff, so I like being in nature, and I feel that's where we belong as a species. And I don't like busy cities and busy towns. I don't like that. I like just being out in nature, and like here's really cool. It's like in a forest in this festival, and it's quite chilled, and I can feel at peace. And yeah, it's just been a big part of my life. And when I was younger, my grandparents would take me away up north and to the wilderness and camping, camper vans and stuff. So yeah, got a big connection to it. So that's why it really influences my music as well.
So for those video clips, did you do some of those recordings, or who did?
Yeah. It's all the video clips are from the guy that was filming the video at the time. The last video, Origins, was done in the Isle of Skye, and it's all original clips. So yeah, it's pretty stunning country, but very lucky.
No, I really enjoy those. So our show is called What's Metal? Yeah. I mean, from your perspective, what is metal? I mean, do you have a definition for it, or a description, or do you maybe tie it to some kind of, like, I don't know, emotions or whatever?
What is metal? It's artistic freedom, probably, because there's so many different genres of metal, and it attracts the strange people that society would deem as strange, and it's I would say to me, metal is artistic freedom, and doing what you want, and saying what you want, and playing what you want, and dressing the way you want, and it's a very strong community. I've noticed in Europe, especially Europe and Germany and France, etc., like it's a brotherhood almost, and people come together, and it bonds people, and people make friendships and have relationships and through metal. So yeah, it's a lot of things, but the main thing is it's artistic freedom to me. I know that sounds cheesy, but we actually just witnessed someone basically destroying a tree.
With a car, I have to say. Yeah. So someone's trying to reverse here, but somebody else trying to intervene. Anyway, okay. Thanks a lot for talking to us.
That tree was my best friend.
It hurts, yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much. It was a really cool interview, and yeah, thank you very much.